Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Listen Bitch podcast with your favorite podcast host, Brandon Lynette. Uh, this is the show where we talk about real life, real faith, real growth, all the messy, chaotic parts in between. You are here, you're listening. I love you. If you keep coming back, I love you even more. I do not take a single one of you for granted. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So you're letting me sit in your car. I'm hanging out in your kitchen. I'm in your earbuds while you're pretending to work. And I'm grateful every single time. Now, before we dive in, you guys know, you already know I'm obsessed with people taking control of their health. Okay. Your health is a massive responsibility. And I'm tired of people walking around exhausted and moody and inflamed and foggy and calling it normal. You think you feel fine? I promise you don't. Go get your Omega blood test. Okay. In the show notes, today is your sign. Maybe a little nudge. Stop guessing. Stop assuming. Get your numbers, get your ratio, get your life back. Or you can comment oil on the show and I'll get you the details. Now, today's guest, you guys are going to love him. Dr. Len Lopez has spent over 25 years teaching people how to eat right, train smart, and actually understand what the hell their body's doing. And then, plot twist, he realized the battle isn't just in your abs and your macros. Okay. It's in your mind, it's in your spirit. So he went from adjusting spines and fixing diets to breaking down habits, thoughts, and spiritual muscles that basically make or break your entire life. I can tell he has some incredible energy, charming, brilliant. He's got stories, he's got science. You could tell he's got this calm, I've seen everything, you can't shock me kind of energy. So today he is going to drop straight wisdom on how to build a body, mind, and spirit that carry you and not crush you. Okay, deep breath, you guys. Welcome, Dr. Len Lopez.
You. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really love your introduction.
Thank you. I got it right, right? I'm like reading on Podmatch. I'm like, come on, got to do some justice here. It's always
Can
fun
I
to
just have,
do.
can I just have that to share with my kids, and they might say, "Dad, is that you? She's talking about you?"
That's our My kids never take anything I do serious. So I totally get that because it's not a big deal to them. They could care less, you
Oh,
know.
I know. I'm
I
sure we're the
had
same way with our parents as
Oh, for
well.
sure. For sure. For sure. So, let's get into this today because like I feel like everybody knows how to eat right, everybody knows how to exercise, but where do people lie to themselves the most?
Well, that's a great question, but I want to pull back on what you said. Everybody knows what to eat,
Yeah.
and it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat. I talk about eat right, train smart. That's kind of the term I've always used in everything. And I always say there's three basic principles of eating right. And here's the part that people really miss is that the first step of eating right is do no harm to your tummy. And I say that I learned that because so many of the patients I would see, because they were coming in with all kinds of various chronic ailments, diseases, idiopathic things that they say, well, that's we don't know where it came from. Take this medication, and we would look at all their various symptoms they would have, and I say this more towards women because they were the one that would say afterwards, after like the first 2 weeks, they'd come back, or the first week come back, and they go, Doc, I have to confess, my dieting, my digestive system is working a whole lot better. I didn't confess everything when I filled out that section. There should be lots of threes and threes and threes there. I
Yeah.
only put ones because I was kind of embarrassed to share that I'm so bloated, gassy, and poopy and diarrhea.
Yeah.
And what I've learned, maybe you can answer this for me. I think people have no problem telling you how bad their hormones are, how bad their allergies are, but they'll never tell you how gassy and poopy they are.
Right. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And so it's kind of a secondary problem for them, and they don't really take any action to correct that until they get the diagnosis that really puts the alarm in them. Like, oh, you have this fibromyalgia, Crohn's, you have these other
Yeah.
problems that are, as they said, idiopathic. We don't know really what causes them, or I kind of have an idea what causes them. But the first step of getting healthy is eat right. And it's like they say in medicine, do no harm, not to the person, but do no harm to your tummy. Because if you
Right.
get bloated, gassy, burpy, poopy, sneezy, that's a sign your body didn't dig what you just fed it and everything. And if you're putting the stuff in that's supposed to make you healthy and well, or healthy and stronger, but it gives you all these other irritable type tummy problems. It's a sign that you're not processing the food that's going to give you the antioxidant that your body wants, the enzymes your body wants, the fish oils your body wants. You're not breaking it down so your body
Right.
can utilize them. And so, first step is eat right, is do no harm to your tummy.
And I mean, that's going to be different for everyone, right? Like you know your body. I can eat anything and I'm fine. My husband cannot. There's
Right.
things that upset his stomach and he knows. And so you kind of this is where I feel like people have to take massive responsibility for their health because nobody knows your body like you do. Pay attention to it. Only you are going to know what you eat makes you uncomfortable. And I think food journals and things like that, like doing elimination diets, if you are like, well, I'm always gassy and bloated, start from square one and is there a way for them to do that for it not to be overwhelming?
Yeah, and we always start with a couple of things. As I said, do no harm to your tummy, and it's just what's causing all the distress in your tummy. And I say step two is it the dietary choices you're making, or is it the dietary habits that are creating all this inflammation in your tummy? Dietary choices, what do you mean? Oh, you're eating all the wrong foods. Dietary habit mean you're constantly eating on the go, on the run, in the car, in a hurry. And
Definitely.
that's a huge one, in today's time here in the States, is because there's so many fast foods out there. People are driving in, grabbing food, trying to eat on the way to the office, eat between that 1 hour gap between work, picking up, we talked about this at the beginning, picking up the kids, racing from A to
Sports.
B to C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're just trying to grab something in. And so when you eat on the run, in the car, in a hurry, you're literally turning your what's called your resting digestive system. It's
Mm-hmm.
called your parasympathetic system. You have two systems that kind of work together. One's called your fight or flight mode, and I think we've all heard of that. And
Yeah.
the counterbalance to that is called your resting digesting. It should be resting digesting hormonal, but it just doesn't sound really good. It doesn't equate very well. But because people are eating on the go and they're wolfing down whether it's the healthiest food you can imagine or something that's just that you picked up at the local fast food joint. But because you're eating on the run, on the go, you're turning your digestive system down. And the question I always ask my patients is try to get them to understand, so how is your digestive system supposed to break the food down? Because you get in this food and your system is designed to break it down into the macro molecules, into the
Mm-hmm.
micro molecules as well, to get the vitamins and enzymes and phospholipids out of the food. But you can't even break it down because you're turning your digestive system off, because you're eating on the run, on the go. And unfortunately, Western medicine doesn't really emphasize. They may say it, but there's not a simple pill. If there was a pill, there's another
Right.
story. If there was a pill to make you sit, eat, and relax, it'd be that's what we need. But there's not. So it has personal responsibility to get that work, to get that process done, so you can nourish your body with the nutrients you need, so your body can keep on doing what it's been doing and what you've been putting it to.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And you've spent 25 plus years with human bodies. What was the defining moment? What finally convinced you that the real battle is mind and spirit?
Well, when you're sitting with the patient, at the first visit, you're just kind of getting to know each other, and they share a little bit about what's going on. Sometimes the second and third, they're starting to share more about what's going on in their life, and you can just feel. You don't need to be a PhD. You just have to have just a heart and ears. You can hear
Yeah.
what they're saying, that they're struggling in A, B, and C. But I know they're here to talk about D, not A, B, and C, and my credentials are for D, not A. And so it's like, okay, let me just stay here. I'll share a little bit here and there, and sometimes we'd get, but it was like I was always kind of, let me just stay in my lane. Let's talk health and fitness and what we need to do to help you with
Yeah.
your scenario. But everyone was, but I could just see some of their struggles. I'm really not happy with where I am in my life. I kind of don't like my job. I've been doing this for the last 20 years. Now I have a spouse, a wife, a kid, a mortgage, And I don't know how I got to this place and everything. And so I would hear this stuff, and I just go, "Guys, there's another connection here." And so that just kind of just had me always thinking about it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that especially in the medical industry, that so many times that is just looked over when I think it's a core thing. I mean, our disease is because your body is not at ease, right? So anything you're having, it's absolutely going to be affected by your soul. What's a belief that you wish every patient would just throw in the trash today?
Throw in the trash today. It's we've heard it for thousands of years. You are what you eat, you are what you think. How do you feed your body, your mind, and your spirit? Are you feeding it all the crappy stuff that we know that's not really good for the body? Are you feeding your mind all the crappy thoughts that we know that aren't good for you? I mean, you don't tell somebody when they step up to the plate in the ninth inning with 2 outs to go that, oh my gosh, so and so's at the plate, and yeah, we're going to lose now because and so you feed your mind, you feed your body, you feed your spirit. Unfortunately, if I could find my phone, I'd say this little guy is really great at distracting us to remember that we need to be feeding body, mind, and spirit. How good of a job are we doing? And that's kind of how, I created that little 5 steps a day thing just to help us start tracking how we're feeding body, mind, because it's easy to, if you just keep it all up here,
Yeah.
I'm not in the crazy part, but when you just keep it here in the head, sometimes you kind of, it gets lost. Yeah, I did enough. I guess when I put it on paper and I look at it, no, I didn't do as good as I thought I did and everything. So, as they say on Shark Tank, give me some numbers.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how what I always joke about with 5 steps. Here's some concrete numbers you can see to show, are you doing what you need to be doing to
Hmm.
get where you need to be going or where you want to be going?
Can you tell us about the 5 steps?
Okay, cool. 5 steps, and the word steps is just an acronym for sleep, think, eat, physical, and spirit. And I know there's probably many people in your audience here that are really familiar with tracking their physical steps, right? They're
Yeah.
using their watches to track their physical step.
Yep.
Great. What are you doing to track your mind and spirit? Are you doing anything? I believe as I said, we need an amalgamation of all three of those things together. So all you do at the end of the day, you just kind of shade in. It takes about 2 minutes to shade in the activity that you did. Let's say you did your 10,000 steps or 5,000, however many you did today. And if you did it, and I'm not asking if you had a full-fledged workout, if it was aerobic, anaerobic, high intensity, low. I'm sure for somebody in your audience, a workout is just doing some gardening, maybe shooting hoops with the kids, just as
Yeah.
opposed to just your full-fledged workout. But if you carved out some time in your day to get in the habit of doing something physical, shade in the peak. Did you eat right? This is all the body stuff. You don't have to eat perfect. And unfortunately, there's a lot of the diet books that are out there that talk about, oh, you got to eat. My wife would tell me all the different diet that she's been doing over the years. And that's how I kind of learned about it because I've never been on a diet. And it's like, no, a smidgen of that is not going to ruin
Yeah.
and make you
Right.
want to quit. But a lot of people, they may have a good breakfast, a good lunch. They go out with their friends. It's a birthday, it's an anniversary. They have a few drinks, a few desserts, and everything. And the next day, they're still stay off the wagon. And so all we're trying to say, hey, did you have more good meals than bad today?
Right.
Most people have about 2 to 3 meals a day. And I'm no math major, but I know if I had 2 steps forward because I had a good, let's say, a good breakfast and a good lunch, and I
Yeah.
had a really cruddy dinner. 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, I'm still going in the right direction. So pat yourself on the back, and tomorrow's another day. Maybe you'll get all 3 steps. You'll do all three
Yeah.
meals great, or maybe it'll be one of those days. The kids drive you crazy, and the
Right.
car breaks down, and all that other kind of chaos where you had to sit there and do the junk food. That's my weekend days typically. So,
Yeah.
but you're just shading in the footstep. And when I showed it to some friends and everything, and a few of them, they're doctors, and the mind doctors, not the physical doctors,
Yeah.
they would go, Len, this is really cool because you're tapping into the visual cues. Because when they shade in that step, Whether
Yeah.
they do it on the calendar or the journal with that pencil, or they just click on the app on that step. There's that visual cue that's reminding them that they did something, and it's kind of that it's one of those Pavlov dog things. It just
Yeah.
kind of makes you feel better that you did something as opposed to, it just hits you another way. And I like to say it's kind of like Seinfeld's calendar, if you're familiar with Seinfeld's calendar or not.
Yeah.
He created that. We all know who Jerry Seinfeld is, and big fan of his. But years ago, somebody asked him, "What do you attribute your success to?" And he said that when he was getting started in the industry, that he goes, "For me to be successful, I need to write 10 jokes a day." That's kind of like if you're an athlete, I need to work out, I need to do 100 push-ups a day, right? He goes,
Right.
I have to write 10 jokes a day. And what he took, just your regular wall calendar, and if he did that, he would put an X on it, a big red X on it. The next day, if he did another 10 jokes, he'd put an X on there. And he started noticing that the days that he didn't do anything, he would see that calendar, and that visual image was just kind of, it would make him feel guilt. I don't want to use the word guilty, but it made him feel like, I don't want to break that chain. I want to keep
Yes.
going. And I think the same thing with 5 step, when you can see your whole week on your phone, and you can see, hey, I took 27 steps this week to get where I want to be in life, or ooh, I only took 7 or 8 steps this week. And
Right.
guys, it's not magic, and you know this as well as I do. It's habits, and again, it's are you accountable to yourself?
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It's just, are you doing what you need to be doing to get where you need to be going?
Right. And it's not every day is going to be perfect. Like you were saying about diet, it's you got to have balance in your life. And especially with my younger girls now, because my older girls are athletes. They ran in college, so they're very my one of my girls is still very strict about her macros, what she's eating, and the little girls see that, and so they started to get into that little diet culture. My kid's 11, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Like this, it's not about good or bad. It's solid habits of like protein. Everything's got to be protein based. If you have some protein today, I don't care if you ask your sister for a sweet treat at the gas station. Like I don't care, but you need that foundation of protein, right? So,
Right,
building those habits, our kids are watching. So,
right.
it's I do think it's important to teach responsibility young too, and we're surrounded by so much crap, and it's been intentional. I mean, health is a business. It's not about curing, it's about let's band-aid this, and I think a lot of
You've done your
people,
homework.
yeah, I mean, I've been advocating for this for a very long time. But I love that you're here on the show because it's great for my audience to hear this from anybody but me, right? They're like my kids at this point where they're like, she's told us about this calendar, but he's really cool and I think we're gonna listen to him, right? So, but that is a thing. It's a thing to even on my planner when I have empty days, it doesn't feel amazing, but
Yeah,
if you guys just move the needle a little bit, it's not about perfection. It's not about being right all the time. And I've done this 3 days of eating really good and I fall off. And then 6 months later, I never got back out of the struggle bus.
right.
You guys have to wake up in that awareness and just, it's little tiny things that make the big things happen down the road. So, what am I going
Here,
to
here,
eat today for future Brandon?
Hearing you say that, it makes me think of kind of what goes along with the rest of the stuff. But it's like, what are you doing? What kind of responsibility are you taking? I know, I don't know how old your kids are, but as you said, it sounds like they ran in college, so they're older than my kids. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm the older guy with younger kids,
Ah,
and I never said that just the word old, but you got to start thinking for yourself and making decisions. And it's easy to just take the easy road on stuff. But I want to make a point as far as you were talking about protein. Love protein. I think it's a really important product for our body. We're
mhm.
designed to break down protein. Problem for a lot of people that are taking more protein, especially if you're eating on the go, on the run in the car. you make it really difficult to digest your food. And that could be
Yeah.
the process, because the way the good Lord designed the body, when you eat food, the first chamber it goes to is your stomach. And that's where you contribute acid to break down the protein. If you
Hmm.
don't have any acid, you don't break protein down. And so a lot of people, they've been told for the last 30, 40 years through advertising that, oh, you make too much
Hmm.
acid, this is your problem. No, you're eating on the go, on the run in the car. You're not making any acid. The protein you're putting in your body is, it's creating that upper GI problem to begin with, all
Yes.
the heartburn and everything. And so you need that acid. And then what's really bad if you're eating protein and you're not digesting it. And as I say, one of the classic symptoms is, you start getting kind of that feeling in your tummy in the first 30 minutes of eating. Okay. That's a classic sign that you're probably not digesting protein very well. But here's the worst part about protein, since I know we're talking health right now, and
Yeah.
I can't not talk about it. But it's when you eat protein and you're not giving your body the acid to break it down,
Right.
that protein doesn't get broken down in your tummy. It sits there for about 2 or 3 hours, churning, churning, churning. No acid, doesn't get processed. Then it goes through the small intestine, and as it goes through your intestine, that 25 foot of our lower intestine, then it starts off gassing all the protein that's rotting and putrefying into your lower GI system. So
Yeah.
it's a classic way to create that lower GI problem. And so many people, they're struggling with upper GI problems, and it turns into a lower GI problem, and they have both of them, and they're wondering, how. The doctor told me what I have. It's just we don't know what causes it.
Yeah.
When you start looking at what you're doing, yeah, we might have an idea. You're upsetting the cart by eating like that. And so, I'm a big fan of digestive enzymes. We heard you talk about testing for fast and everything. Huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Digestive enzyme but if you're eating on the go, on the run, you need to make sure. I mean, I would give patients acid, just straight acid, and I mean, some of them would take 4, 5, 6, 8 acid capsules before they would feel that
Wow.
little burning sensation, because that's how deficient they were. But as we did that, they go, oh, all my tummy issues have gotten so much better. This
Yeah.
is really remarkable. So just FYI.
No, I love that. And I learned something new because now I'm going to have to go figure out acid. Like, do I have enough in everything I'm doing? So, naturally, what is it that we pair with, you know, what is an acid we can naturally take? Is it just a capsule? What?
Yeah, for a long time, people were using, apple cider vinegar. So that's kind of a classic, you know, simple test. You can not a test, but if you start getting that burning, burpy, bloated feeling in the first 30 minutes, that's probably a good sign that you're dealing with an upper GI problem, and more than likely you're not have producing enough acid. Now, is it because you're eating on the go, on the run, and you're turning your system off,
Yeah.
or have you been doing that for so long that your body's just naturally not making it anymore? And so apple cider vinegar is kind of a good way, one of those good old
We
wives'
love
tales
that
to help.
stuff. So, that wives' tale is a good one. We're keeping that, right?
Yeah, just be
Good.
careful, because if you do an ounce of it and everything, and it calms everything down, it may not calm enough, because, as I said, I've had patients that there were said, 2 or 3 acid capsules, and then on the fourth one, as we would dose it, because you have to dose it over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, because you don't want to just swallow six to be. You could just be
Right.
over. And if you do put too much, one of the classic signs that you have enough acid now is you start getting that burning sensation. Just drink a cup, 2 cups of water, and that'll just dilute it out, right? So that's all it'll do. But so many patients would come back, especially a lot of my female patients. They go, "Gosh, I had no idea. I have to take
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 of these, and I don't, and I have to swallow 4 or 5 capsules of straight acid before I start getting that burning sensation." And so that tells me that what she's been eating for all this time, that she's not producing enough acid to break down her protein. And just FYI for your audience, for your body to produce acid, it's probably one of the most. I'm not the biochemist, but I've been to enough biochemistry lectures with other doctors
Yeah.
that are much smarter than me, and they say, yeah, making acid to concentrate it in your stomach is probably the most hardest physio biochemical whatever you call it, equation or process that goes on in your body. And so when you eat and you hear people start taking, well, that gives me heartburn. I need to take an antacid. No, that's the problem. You don't have enough acid in your system. We've been told the wrong story typically.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe if you just stop eating on the run on the go, your body will start producing the acid it needs. But then again, your body may need a little help for a while.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have the burning, I don't have the heartburn. I feel great and I'm a protein freak. So I'm hoping that my lemon water, my apple cider vinegar are balancing me out.
The lemon water is great also. Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
one out there that, the lemon water, the apple cider vinegar, that's all great stuff because it helps bring some of that acid into your system. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you're always eating on the go, on the run in the car, you're literally turning your digestive systems off. Okay,
Right.
because as I said, you have two systems: fight or flight, resting, digesting, and they work in synergy with each other. One's up, the other's down. When the other's up, the other one's down. And if you're on the go, on the run, and you're eating your burger in the car, drinking your
Yeah.
French fries with the shake, you're just not giving you, as you're fighting traffic, you're just not giving your body, as it says, you need to sit, eat, and relax. And I like to always say, we've known that it's important to sit, eat, and relax for thousands of years. Go
Right.
watch an old classic, Braveheart, Gladiator. You don't see them on their way to work with their horse swinging a sword in one hand and a turkey leg in the other because they're trying to do them both at
Exactly.
the same time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
priorities.
we talked about apple cider vinegar, um, old wives' tale, a myth that we're gonna keep. What is a wellness myth or old wives' tale that refuses to die, that needs to die, and it's just not going away no matter how much people talk about it?
Oh gosh. Um, what we were talking about, and that's always one of the first. That's why it's number one. Do no harm to your tummy because people are always eating on the go, on the run.
Yeah.
I guess, I'll share this because one of the things I'll tell everybody, I'm a big fan of digestive enzymes. Okay, when I eat a good meal and I'm at home relaxing and everything, no, but if I'm eating on the go in the run in the car in a hurry when I'm traveling in a couple of days, so I'll take some digestive enzymes with me. And there's two I really like. One that is just enzymes by themselves. Other one has the enzymes, but it also has acid in there too. A little bit
Okay.
of acid because I know I'm going to be, so if you're eating your little protein bars, that I don't care what kind of protein bar it is, while you're driving, racing down the road to go pick up the kids or get to A, B, or C, and it has that protein in there, and you're literally turning your digestive system off. And so
Yeah.
you can still do it. Just add the right things to help it along. Like I said, there's a secret way. I'm going to be doing a little social media clip on this in the next couple of weeks here. Because yeah, there's a certain way you can eat without getting all that bloating gas when you eat on the run. Because I eat on the
Yeah.
run too. And
Right.
so there's some shortcuts you can take, or old wise things you can do to help alleviate that you don't have these problems. Because I'm the kid that when I was 10 years old, I had a couple of surgeries by that time. This is
Yeah.
back in the 60s. And so with that, back in the 60s, everybody got antibiotics. Even if you didn't need them, you got antibiotics. And so how
Yeah.
much did I disturb all that good balance in my bacteria in my system at 6 and 8 years of age?
Wow. What's a diagnosis that you see everywhere right now that isn't medical, but that it's spiritual?
Oh, that's spiritual. Ugh. Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know how to think on that. What's the diagnosis that's not medical but spiritual? I think just belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Because we have so many challenges in the day, and sometimes we forget that, we are body, mind, and spirit. And maybe you're doing all this stuff for your physical stuff, and you're doing stuff for your spiritual stuff. But maybe you're just feeding yourself. What does it say? You are what you eat. You are what you think. We go back, to the biblical times. Gandhi, the Hindus talked about that too. We are what you eat, what you think. And how much of us do we allow that negative talk to get into our system? And a lot of that, yeah, I know some of this, but now I'm thinking,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot of connections with that. People just feel defeated and think that the problem is physical. Someone
Mhm.
told them it's physical. Here, take this medication. You're not happy. You're not making enough of this of serotonin. You're not making enough dopamine. Yada yada yada. And what are you doing with your time? How are you allocating your time? Are you doing stuff that's going to help readjust that? And not to beat up phones, because I think they're a great thing that you can do a whole lot of benefit with that phone in your hand. But it can also be like anything else. I'm sure my parents were the same way when the hi-fis came out, as far
Yeah.
as those kids out there spinning their
Yeah.
33 saying, these kids are crazy. But yeah, there's always been another thing, another technology over the last 50 years
Hmm.
that I'm sure every generation said, God, that's going to be the death of us.
Yeah.
And right now, I think it's the cell phones with young kids because they don't have the temperament to understand that you're overdoing it, and it's so easy to sit there and watch another cat video and another cat video,
Yes.
another fighting scene, another so and
Yep.
so, and you don't understand. Oh, an hour's passed in my time, and I know they told me to clean the house, clean this, do this, and I
Yeah.
don't have any time anymore.
Well, I'm watching adults literally lose their minds over this thing. So I'm glad you're talking about this today because I do, again, it's another thing I think my audience needs to hear over and over. Like your cell phone is killing you. It's worse for your brain than drinking alcohol. Like every time you're scrolling on those little videos, your brain is just breaking down. Like you're losing that connection, you're freezing your neuroplasticity, like you are pausing everything. And emotionally, I don't think you guys understand like if your phone is the first thing that you're grabbing in the morning, you are setting the tone to just fall into everything. Everything else is going to have control of your feelings, your emotions. There isn't a day that I've ever picked up my phone and that it set the tone for a really great day. We have access to everything and we're not supposed to.
Right, right.
Everything on here is not my business. So why do I wake up and see, you know, these horrible news stories, these more murders, more death, more doom and gloom? There, come on. Yes, can this be an amazing tool for us? Absolutely. Is it a gift that we've taken for granted? And I think that's been intentional too. Like keep them unhealthy, fat, distracted, and you know we can control people.
Right.
There's been psychological games used against us for we're guinea pigs, you guys. We're guinea
As
pigs.
you say,
And
we can control them. We can also profit off of them.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
as far as what you were saying there about this phone, how it grabs and takes us away. I kind of
Yes.
go back to when I talk about the sleep and the sleep and think step.
Yeah.
We think what how often do we think about when I believe that the think step is, did you think better today? Okay. And
Yes.
so when I say that, how long does it take you in the day before you remind yourself, I feel great, I can do it, life's getting better, whatever phraseology you want to use to make yourself feel better, right?
Yeah.
But there's a certain word you can tell for yourself to say, I'm going to have a better day. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, they may not tell themselves, "I feel great. I'm gonna feel. I'm bigger, better, bolder." One of the terms I like to say, right?
Yeah.
They don't tell them until, or when do you tell them? After you wake up, your feet hit the ground. Is it after you gone to the restroom? After you showered? After you got dressed? After you had breakfast? After you taken the kids to school? After you got to the office? After lunch? For a lot of people, just as you described, they grab that phone and immediately it just distracts them, and then they
Yeah.
don't get a chance to think for themselves or say, hey, let me do this first. Let me give
Hmm.
myself a minute or two of just a good thought that I'm going to have a great day today. I feel awesome. I'm going to go kick ass today. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, when somebody say, Doc, you telling me if I say this magic phrase a bazillion times, it's going to make a difference. I can't give you statistics, but I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
For the 1 or 2 minutes here and here and here throughout the day, every third hour, every fifth hour, every 2 hours, that's 1 or 2 minutes. You're not kicking yourself in the rear, telling you what you can't do.
Right.
And as my mother would always say, another drop on that carpet, you're going to make a big stand. You're going to really pay for that and everything.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, a drop in the bucket. 80% of our thoughts are slanted negatively,
Yeah.
according to doctors in that industry, in that field, researchers. And 20% of our daily thoughts are slanted positively. I mean, can we move from 80-20 to maybe 78-22,
Mm-hmm.
75-25? And that just takes a little bit of effort, waking up and maybe for the first minute, just remind yourself. And I know the dogs are barking, the kids are coming, the phone, you want to grab the phone, but who's responsible? You're past 18, you're past 22 now,
Yeah.
and who's responsible for your decision? Mom and dad aren't controlling anything anymore. So as far as to your audience here, hey, you have to sit here and say, "Ooh, am I doing what I need to be doing to get where I want to go? If not,
Mm-hmm.
who do I blame it on?"
Yeah.
And so it comes back to you. And again, you don't have to share 5 steps with anybody. You can just kind of track yourself and see, are you doing the things you need to be doing to get where you want to go? And
Right.
I'll say one thing about habits. I think habits and attitudes are like our genetic code. It's our DNA. You trace back your DNA. I think you're familiar with this probably. If you trace back your DNA, you can see where you came from, right? Well,
Yeah.
if you trace back your habits and attitudes, you may notice that some of your accomplishments and achievements are tracing back when your habits were beneficial. You were exercising, you were looking at what you're eating, you were trying to feed the mind and spirit.
Yeah.
But by the same token, you can trace back your habits and attitude, and you can look to see maybe the difficulties and challenges in this time of my life. Yeah, maybe I was playing too many video games, watching too much,
Mm-hmm.
movies and TVs and just other things. Your habits and attitude weren't as good as they could have been. And so, all we're trying to do with 5 Step is just help you start. Are you doing what you need to be doing to get where
Yep.
you want to get? If not, it's whose fault is it?
Exactly. And it's that's it. I think a lot of people get that victim mentality and we're going to blame everybody. No one taught me better. That's something I've learned. I emancipated at 15 and I'm self-taught at everything. And if I don't know it, I'm going to go search it out and I don't blame anybody. It's that massive responsibility, but a lot of people, are like, "Brandon, you're so lucky. Look at everything you're doing." You guys, I'm telling you, this started with self-talk because and it wasn't natural for me. It wasn't natural for me to just be like, "Brandon, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you." And I say it a million times a day now. And I'm like, "You're amazing. You've got this." I got a bunch of construction paper and some Sharpie markers, and I wrote all the things I really wanted to put inside my brain and I pasted them everywhere. And I did just tell my audience this is the second time I'm saying it. So I've got to do it. Um I put these, intentions and the thoughts I wanted on papers all around my house. Because then when I go to the bathroom or I go to brush my teeth, wow, there's something positive to say. And I read that. And did I feel it at first? Absolutely not. I'm like, "You're so stupid. This is dumb." Well, I don't say that anymore because I train my brain different. And it's that same thing of like how you're talking about your relationship with food. I know how much better I feel when number one, my plate looks beautiful. Like when there's colors, when I've set it up, when I've done the placemat and the setting and the silverware, I feel different when I'm done eating. There's no phone, there's no TV, there's no distraction. It's having that relationship with food, like caring about that, caring about yourself on the inside out. It changes everything. And there are natural hormones and things that are happening when you're eating, like Dr. Lopez is saying, in the car, in a rush. I mean, what how do you think that's I mean, it's not sustainable. It's
Oh yeah, and
not
let me
love.
just add to what you were saying because you're doing everything that I say in the book. And you've had
Nice.
your road to get to where you're at, but that's
Yeah.
what the sleep and think step are all about. When I talk about sleep, did you sleep with a smile? Did you dream better?
Yeah.
Because you went to bed, kind of what you're talking about, like a vision board.
Yeah.
You knew where you wanted to go. And I
Hmm.
say it this way, if you go to bed at night with just the remote control in your hand and you fell asleep that way, or what kind of thoughts are going to go through your subconscious mind for the next 7, 8 hours? But if you're
Right.
intentional, just as you described, and we talk about it with 5 steps, that you know where you want to go. I see myself, and I use the simple analogy when we were kids, some of us thought that they wanted to be a pro athlete, or they wanted to
Yeah.
be up on stage singing or dancing guitar, whatever it is, winning the awards. But as you get older, you start seeing yourself, hey, I want to go take this cruise. I want to have that corner office. I want to have that car. Whatever. I want to make sure when I get in front of the audience, I give this kick butt, speech and everything. Do
Right.
you have something to aim for? Unfortunately, researchers show that so many people don't really have a vision board for one, but they don't know really what tomorrow is going to, they don't know where they're going. They don't have any dreams for themselves. You describe your dreams right now. And I would
Hmm.
say if you can't visualize your dreams and see your dreams come true with your eyes closed before you go to bed, right? How much harder is it going to be to have those dreams come true with your eyes wide open?
Right.
So you have to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go. And so much of the research I've read from doctors in the field, and especially for kids that are teenagers getting ready to go into the
Yeah.
real world, they don't know where they want to go. They've been accustomed for the first 18 years just to get up and go to school. And
Right.
I always say, the first 18 years are pretty well plotted out for you. But
Yeah.
after that graduation, are you going to join the band, join the circus, join the foreign legions? What are you going to do? And a
Hmm.
lot of people don't know, and so sometimes they just go to college and they're not sure why they're there. They just
Yes.
know mom and dad told we got to go to college, and so they're there. And again, some of the stories I would hear in my office, I'm here, I got this degree, I don't, it's not really what I wanted to do, but I was just following the path that
Right.
was kind of plotted for me. So the first two steps is sleep and think. If you did something, and that's why I say if you go to bed uh, 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 with a smile on your face
Yeah.
because you're dreaming about your tomorrow, well, if you close your eyes and you start visualizing the vacation you want to take, the new car,
Hmm.
if you're trying to lose weight and everything, the weight you're going to get, or the shopping spree you're going on and everything, whatever that
Yeah.
you can visualize, and you can see that as you close your eyes and just start visualizing that, you'll notice that a smile will slowly start growing on your
Hmm.
face. And the more vivid you can get that picture in your mind, not only are you just getting every molecule in your body to feel that sensation, but all of a sudden the smile just grows bigger and bigger. And sometimes when I'm at night,
Yeah.
I'll get, we have different sleep schedules, me and my wife, by about an hour or
Yeah.
so. And I'm in there and it's like, oh, I just get this huge little smile because I'm
Yeah.
thinking about something I want to see happen. And it's so big that I have to stop for a second. Okay, let's get back and just get a regular smile, and then I go to sleep and everything. But you have to know where you want to go. And I'll use this quote that I always say. We all know what our proverbial, we've all heard of the land of the proverbial land of milk and honey. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody has their proverbial land of milk and honey. If you don't know what your proverbial land of milk and honey is, don't complain if you arrive at the land of headaches and heartaches.
Oh.
Unfortunately, so many people don't know where they're going, and they get there and they just
Yeah.
squawk about everything because hey, you just left it up to chance. If you want to go there, you don't set sail. I'm not a sailor, but I heard you never set sail without knowing where you want to go. But
Yeah.
if you know where your land of milk and honey is, if the wind is in your face, you can at least continue where you're going and keep getting there. But when the wind's at your back, wow, what kind of strides can you make?
Yeah.
But if you don't know where you want to go, again, that doesn't mean you can't ready the ship. Okay, you
Right.
can still ready the ship to sail by, hey, I feel great, I'm strong, I'm healthy, whatever phraseology that's going to
Yeah.
resonate with you. But as you start building that little internal self-confidence, self-belief within yourself, hopefully it may get you, like for me, started reading and started reading other books and everything. And I said, oh, I need to have a vision. Where do I want to go? Oh, and as I
Yeah.
started doing that, my life started changing.
Yep. And that's, I mean, I feel that wholeheartedly because that's my life started changing when I can, you know, especially gratitude. I think gratitude in my life made the biggest shifts in everything I was doing. It's just that you train yourself to wake up and see the things that you're thankful for. So I'm one of those like annoyingly happy people. I can figure everything out. It doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I stopped becoming reactive and it's just now I wake up and I'm like, I can't wait to see what's possible today. I can't wait
Right,
to see
right.
what happens. And when you guys train yourself to wake up and specifically look for the miracle or look for the signs, you're going to see it. Your brain is going to give you everything you ask for. So if you wake up and you're like, my life is miserable, the proof and truth of that is always going to come to you. But if you can wake up in that gratitude and just be like, what is possible? Like I'm excited for today. I'm excited. It's 10 a.m. here and I'm like, yeah, I love today. I get to do these incredible things. And it's because I was intentional. It's because intentional.
Yeah, you're intentional and you're anticipating that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that they don't know what to anticipate other than know they got to get up and go do whatever they were doing again tomorrow. And that's okay. You can
Yeah.
keep doing that, but you have to, it's better for yourself mentally, physically, socially when you know why you're doing what you're doing to get where you want to go. And
Yeah.
as I said, everything I've read just says that what more than 80% of the population, they have no idea what their goals are. They just kind of wake up to the next day. And so once you start getting an idea of where you want to go, and you can start off, it doesn't matter what you dream about. It could be something you're dreaming about 5 days down the road, 5 weeks, 5 years down the road. I always like
Right.
to kind of share that I didn't get married till late in life. Nobody would want to put up with me for that. So it took me many years before I got married. But it was like when I got into my 30s and mid 30s, I started going, gosh, I should have been married by now. What happened here? So I started just dreaming about it and visualize. I'd go to bed at night and
Yeah.
visualize my wedding, with my wife back there in the back of church and everything, kind of like the Blues Brothers episode where
Yeah.
the lights come in and everything.
Yeah.
And there she is, there's my mom and dad, there's my brothers, there's my family members. And, it came out, who would have realized, about 4 or 5 years later, it happened exactly like that and everything. And so, knowing where you want to go is really important. And then if you can't figure out where you want to go, don't be squawking when you land in the land of heartaches and headache. But guys, that happens to so many people.
Yeah. Amen to that. I mean, right, the cemetery is the richest place on earth because people have died with regret and no chance at possibility, and we got this incredible gift of life, and this is my mission every single day is to show someone what's possible and to help them step into their potential. And I love that that's what you're doing um on a incredible level. So if I've got a listener right now that is at rock bottom, what is the first step that you would tell them to take before anything else?
You gotta My 5 steps are just as far as get them help, get them where they need to be. The 5 steps you need to know why you're taking the steps. What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Once you know that, have some idea of where you want to go, I think that can help you. Now you got to see, are you doing what you need to be doing? I'll use
Yeah.
fitness as a category. Hey, I want to have 20-inch biceps. Okay, what are you're mapping out your workout so you can get to that point, your diet, your fitness level. Well, you may not know what you want right now, but you have to start thinking where it is you want to go. Do you
Mm-hmm.
need more emphasis for the body, more emphasis in mind? Do you need more emphasis in spirit? And because I think we are that accumulation of those three pieces. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people, and I'll use this analogy, a lot of people that I've seen over the years that may be, and this is just for simplicity here, a
Yeah.
lot of people that may be very physically fit, but they don't have a really strong spiritual connection. They don't have the spiritual strength with them. And by the same token, there's a lot of people that may be so spiritual that it's just oozing out of them when you talk to them, but they are in the worst health out there. And I say that because I was one of the first non-pastors to work to do a show on a place called oneplace.com, which is a Christian ministry. And it was just,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, yeah, because there's so many people that I found out that the Christian community was one of the most overweight, unhealthiest groups out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes when, as I've gone in my walk, I've gone full circle, right? And some people would be they're at church 3, 4, 5 nights a week and everything, and they're doing everything to help everybody, but they're neglecting their own health.
Themselves.
And then when they're there 4 nights out of the week, and what do they order at church? Here's some more pizza. Let's get some. Let's bring in more pizza. Let's bring in more ham.
Yeah.
Nothing against pizza here and there. I'm a huge pizza fan. My wife makes delicious homemade pizza, but you know, you need a good balance. Are you taking anything to help your physical body? And so
Yeah.
to talk about the spiritual step in 5 steps, it's coming from the fitness background, health and fitness background. I would always say I could always find a way to exercise my physical body,
Yeah.
but I could never find a way to always regularly just to be in the Word. And then I
Right.
finally scratched my head going, I can lift weights, I can run, I can bike, I can swim, I can do stretching to get a good physical workout. Oh, you don't just have to, be in the Word to be working your spiritual. There's podcasts. You can listen to music. I grew up
Yeah.
back in the 50s and 60s. There's AM radio. You can hear somebody's messages. There's podcasts now because so these phones could be beneficial for you while you're waiting in line, waiting to get on the airplane, waiting to get on the train. Hey, can I listen to something that for 5 or 10 minutes, just to maybe that moves the needle a little bit, and that you
Yes.
may hear the word that's going to like resonate with you. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
And maybe as you grow in your spiritual walk, maybe it may not be here to help you, but maybe as your spiritual growth could be the strength for one of your friends
Someone
who,
else. Yeah.
yeah, and so you just never know. But I think we are body, mind, and spirit, and to neglect, as I say, to neglect your spirit is like skipping a meal. We know that's not right.
Yes.
And so are you doing anything to nourish your spiritual muscles? And if you
Yeah.
read, listen, music, fellowship with others, served, attended, just shade in that step. Again, by the end of the week, you can see, hey, I'm doing this stuff. You're making
Yeah.
yourself feel the accomplishment. You're going to where you want to be going to.
Right. Well, I love that because I do a Bible study for a badass and I do a daily reading schedule in there. So that's, it's not always perfect. And I'll tell you guys right now, I don't do it every day, but 9 times out of 10, I pick up the Bible before I pick up my phone. That's a non-negotiable,
Right.
but I mean, obviously life happens. You guys, I have 6 kids and I have 1,000 animals and it doesn't always work out like that, but it is, I can tell you everything I've grounded myself in. It's a guidebook to life and it
Oh yeah.
talks about how to feed body, mind, and spirit. Like so if you guys are feeling lost, I think that's a great place to start. Anything I've ever built that I didn't build on that foundation biblically, I burned it down. It's never worked out. And once you put that foundation in and ground yourself and build this on the word of God, nothing can touch you. Nothing.
Agreed. And yeah, kind of the same thing, because as I said, the one guy who got left literally got, figuratively speaking, pretty much got left at the altar. And some
Yeah.
of my friends, say, that's the worst story I've ever heard in my life about somebody in a breakup. But,
Oh,
that's the only thing that helped me recover from
yeah.
that, lack of a better word, humiliation. But it's just, what are you feeding body, mind, and spirit? We are an amalgamation. We are what we think. Are you thinking to make yourself bigger, better, bolder, or healthy, wealthy, and wise? Or are you just kind of waiting for that magic genie to help move you from that vicious cycle into that virtuous circle? As I've learned from, and I think you have too, as my parents taught me, and maybe yours as well. Hey, if you want to get to where you want to, it's you who's responsible.
Yeah.
So are you going to do what you need to be doing to get where you want to go? And hopefully, you're only going to check out 5 steps a day because it's just like, I don't have my watch on. It's just like, tracking
Yeah.
your steps for your
Yep.
physical health. Are you doing the stuff to help hold yourself accountable and that's what hopefully it'll help people see, improve those habits and attitudes because change, my little acronym, is about creating habits and attitudes now for
Yeah,
growth and for greater expectations. So you
right.
don't change for the you don't change for the worse, you try to change for the better. So greater expectation change.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys taking that responsibility for your health on all of those levels is super important because here's what I know to be true. A lot of people don't change until they have that big moment, like the health scare or whatever it is. And so this is what I have learned to be true in my experience is that if you're not on your knees talking to God every day, there will be something that happens to force you there. And you don't have to wait for that moment. You don't have to wait for that moment. Like we're not waiting for a Monday. We're not waiting for the first of the month. We're not waiting for the first of the year. If it's important to you, you're going to do it today. And otherwise, say it out loud. You're talking about people griping about this. Nobody wants to hear you complaining about things that you're refusing to change. That's all. Keep it to yourself. And it is that massive responsibility. People talk about motivation, and I feel like this is definitely an episode where people are going to feel pumped up like I get this. What actually keeps people consistent even with your step method? What keeps them consistent?
It's like anything else. You have to believe and do it yourself because somebody may be told what they need to be doing 25, 30, 40 times. When is it the person finally, whether they're an alcoholic, a smoker, trying to break some bad habit before they take action? You never know what's going to create that impetus. But I think a lot of people realize that as I say, not everybody learns by just read or hearing that you need to do something. What I think is really cool about the 5 steps, kind of like Seinfeld's calendar, is that it's so visual. A lot of people that are more kinesthetic, they don't get it by just reading. They're more
Right.
visual, they're more kinesthetic
Hmm.
learners. And when they see that and they shade in the footstep and they can visually see their progress, I hope that moves them more or faster or helps them stay connected longer. Will it
Yeah.
take 21 days before you notice the improvements or 90 days? You know, uh, how long is it going to take you to get 20-inch bicep? It depends on
Yeah.
how much effort you put to make it happen. And so it's just a simple tool to help you get where you want to go. And I always say, if you're trying to be bigger, better, bolder, are you taking the steps to be there or not? And you need body, mind, and spirit to get there.
Yep. Review for us again your step method. And give us your website so people can go and get resourced and download what they need to download.
Okay, I'll share that here. Let me say one thing because we were talking so much about protein
Yeah.
earlier, right? And how you need the acid and and then also we got to God's word, right? And I always tell everybody when I've talked to said, I don't know of all the different of evolution, this, that, and the other. I
Yeah.
know a little bit, but it's like when you think about the way the body's designed. My theory is that we know that because we all haven't been eating on a clean tablecloth for all of our existence and everything.
Right.
When you ate back in the olden days, and the first thing when you eat food goes into your stomach, and your body makes acid in there to break down the protein. But it does more than break down the protein. That acid is also to purify and kill off any bacteria, germ, parasites, fungicide that's in your food. Remember, we
Yeah.
haven't been eating on cloth tabletops tablecloth
Right.
all these years. And when you look at the animal kingdom, they go, eating old food, dead food, and everything. They eat it. It goes into that very first chamber of your stomach. That's where your body puts all that acid in there to purify it, because otherwise you could be feeding your body all this poison in your system. So the acid is not just there for protein digestion. Is to kill off the germs that may be in your food. So think about that next time you're walking around, you wondering, hey, did the waiter sneeze on my food? Did the bad guy cleaning my food and everything? So this is why your body needs to make acid, because and why is that the first step in the digestive process? There had to be some kind of intelligent design to make that
Yes.
the first step. So that's kind of my little theory on that. But 5 steps, guys, and I want to just say thank you so much for allow me to come on your show and everything. And it's been great to hear more and learn more about you. as well, Brandon. But STEPS is just an acronym: sleep, think, eat, physical, spirit. Are you doing the things you need to be doing to get where you want to go? There's a calendar. There'll be a new one coming out for 2026. If you like the old-fashioned way, like me, want to take a pencil and shade in the steps or the journal.
Yes.
But if you're what's funny, everybody, when I first showed it to some people, they say, "Hey, this is really cool, Doc." But the two things I said, but this needs to be an app, and I need my kids to read this. And so,
Yes.
I shared it with one of my pastors, and the one pastor said, "Oh, this is nice." You're not kind of pat me on the head, say, "Yeah, that's nice." But a student pastor said, "This is really cool. Hey, we're doing a retreat in a few weeks. Can you come and talk to the kids about this whole sleep to think part?" I think that's really, really important because, kids, they get full, as I like to say, we don't give driver's license out to somebody until they've had all kinds of lessons of this, that, and the other. But by
Correct.
the start of your second decade, they have full control of what they put into their mental shopping cart. And
Yep.
just some of the things that they need that they don't think about, but that worry, fear, anxiety, telling you this, that, and the other. I'm sure you've seen it with you and
Yeah.
your kids and everything. And so it's just a simple way to help you improve body, mind, and spirit. 5 steps a day. You can check out drlenlopez.com. They all kind of integrate with each other. I hope you check it out. The app is free. You can just download it, and the app is free.
I love that. I'll put the link in the show notes. I've got the link for the website in the show notes, and I've got his socials so you guys can follow him. Listen, Rich, Dr. Len Lopez, thank you so much. If you guys did not take notes, go back and listen again because he just dropped a lot of truth on you. If this episode hit you, if it taught you something, convicted you, or just made you rethink your daily habits, please share it. Send it to your group chat, your mama, your best friend, your gym buddy, whoever needs the reminder that their body, mind, and spirit are not separate battles. Okay. Do me a favor, you guys. I'm serious. Go follow Dr. Lopez, go to his website, read his work, grab his tools, get inside his world. If you liked him here, you're going to love him even more when you hear him everywhere else. Okay. I don't bring people on this podcast just to fill time. I bring people who can actually help you change your life. So please go follow him, support him, and let him know that you heard him on Listen Bitch. If you're feeling extra generous today, hit the share button, post it to your stories, tag us, both of us. Help this episode get in front of people who need it the most. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Dr. Len Lopez, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and it was just a pleasure. It really was such a great pleasure.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys later.